Level 1, Studio Runner. You claim the second-hand black blazer the year you hit 24, income crossing $950. The sixth-floor studio above the fabric wholesalers runs on blocked hallways, hissing steamers, floor-bound interns, and garment bags stacked by the freight elevator. You carry samples between studio and showroom as assistants shout new priorities faster than the elevator can return. Hourly pay rewards availability, not taste, authorship, or stamina. Nadine Bell uses you as muscle at the sample room doorway, but she teaches which garments survive a hard day. You learn which fabrics collapse, pull, or photograph badly under showroom lights. Silk dresses slide past with price tags worth more than your month, while your dinner depends on the cash left after the trim shop walk. You hide the taped sole before buyers notice. The steel fabric scissors become the first valuable thing you guard as yours. After studio hours, you fill a cracked leather sketchbook with cleanup work for overnight stipends. Freelance cleanup pays per rescue because exhausted designers need presentable lines by morning. Rain beats the garment bags as you run toward a showroom full of models, stylists, and buyers waiting upstairs. Can being useful ever turn into being credited? Stylists demand the missing look. Assistants search the chaotic fitting room, and a senior producer starts asking who carried it last. The courier loses a runway sample, and the studio blames you. You step into the buyer-packed noise with the problem still attached to your name. One missing sample can kill orders because buyers purchase complete stories. You propose a replacement from leftover fabric and remembered proportions. The lost garment becomes a workable sketch under pressure. Judgment counts only when it saves revenue. Nadine stops barking orders long enough to study what you put on the page. The head designer calls you onto the cleared fitting platform. Level 2, Junior Designer. Nadine Bell introduces you as Junior Designer, 26, with $3,400 coming steady. The brighter corporate floor replaces hallway chaos with color walls, fabric libraries, fit rooms, and elevators full of garment racks. You build seasonal stories with designers, merchandisers, and technical staff surrounding the trend boards. Your sample sale wool coat enters market meetings before your sketches do. A salary buys steadier status, but it also makes each assigned design part of your responsibility when the room asks who missed the detail. Nadine hands you ruined samples and asks how you would save them. Fit becomes a negotiation among body, fabric, factory, and price. At work, they call you designer. At home, hanging samples crowd the tiny bedroom rail above sleep. You ride to outer borough factories to defend seam finishes and shrinkage limits. 30 operators repeat your collar construction at industrial speed down the noisy sewing line. A drawing becomes expensive when many hands repeat it. Each unit carries fabric, labor, freight, markdown risk, and buyer deadlines before it reaches a rack. Who pays when one spacing choice multiplies 600 times? The production manager says your correction note arrived too late. You call the technical designer before merchandisers gather. Wrong buttons mean rework, delays, or discounts that shrink the season. 600 units come back with the wrong button spacing. You answer with measurements instead of taking silent blame. Merchandisers demand whether the style ships late or sells wounded. You accept a partial rework and reset the spec process. Weekend freelance money now funds the corrections you study after hours. You carry the factory-bound sample case, designing for costs, dates, buyers, and fit. Level 3, Collection Designer. Years pile up quietly until 29, when $7,900 lands monthly beside your private capsule rack. Market Week moves you between fit studios, mill meetings, buyer rooms, and overseas factory calls. Tailored sample sale suits replace the days of hiding damaged shoes. You direct fittings while merchandisers decide which designs deserve space. Your bonus depends on styles surviving cost, fit, and buyer edits well enough to become sellable. Nadine now challenges your fixes like a respected colleague. You choose mills by hand feel, reliability, minimums, and delivery risk. Your design code hangs outside the garment. The brand name sits on the label. Buyers sit under hard showroom lights as models rotate through your entire capsule. Department store buyers purchase a coherent wall, so one clever garment cannot carry a broken story. A celebrity stylist requests the strongest look before appointments. Does red carpet attention matter if you cannot control the sample? Publicity staff push exposure, while sales staff demand the look intact. The strongest sample returns stained and unusable before buyers arrive. You send assistants outward for substitutes before the room turns on the missing centerpiece. Borrowed celebrity visibility pays the brand first and leaves you exposed when the sample fails. You reorder the presentation around second-best looks and tighter styling. Weaker pieces become a cleaner story buyers can still buy. Merchandisers cut the damaged style despite the celebrity attention because orders need product, not a photograph. Your private rack empties into orders you do not own. Public attention can touch your work without transferring power. Car service waits outside, while trust has to be rebuilt inside. You study independent labels that keep their names on the label. You leave through the closing showroom doors wanting ownership, not borrowed spotlight. Level 4. Design Director. Market week passes, you stay 34, and $18,600 keeps coming. Headquarters puts merchandising and creative in conflict before the fabric even exists. You lead junior designers through silhouettes, colors, and delivery needs for the season. Your salary buys judgment. The bonus depends on stores selling through. Assistants guard your fittings while garment bags now carry your initials. Hundreds of proposals become one line buyers can understand. Merchandising wants safer coats while creative demands the risky hero pieces. If merchants cut the strongest pieces, can your bonus survive the weaker assortment they leave behind? Textile fair aisles fill with mills competing to enter your collection. Mills chase your approval because one chosen fabric can unlock thousands of yards. You audit a dye house before production locks the season into expensive commitments. Juniors treat you as arrived. Executives can still erase the line. Market Week compresses fittings, casts, factory calls, and buyer appointments into one schedule. You check model notes twice because one bad correction multiplies across sizes. You miss a critical correction and the full-size run returns wrong. The fitting bay goes quiet until you order everyone back to live bodies. Production blames your team as buyers arrive for the preview. The mistake threatens sell-through because wrong fit becomes markdowns, not applause. You sacrifice fringe looks so pattern makers can rescue the commercial core. You can command taste, but corporate owns the downside and the upside. Approvals survive Market Week while your body runs on fumes. You carry the initialed bags through the revolving door, knowing the door still bears another name. Level 5. Independent Label Founder. Your boutique buyer finally calls you Founder Designer at 38. $32,800. The rented atelier makes buyers come to you instead of summoning you to their offices. Woven labels replace corporate tags, and every roll was bought with your cash. You run fittings, production quantities, client appointments, and delivery deadlines with a tiny team. Nadine freelances beside you, equal enough to challenge every weak garment. Direct clients pay richer margins, while boutiques bring volume with slower cash. Your name sits in the close as unsold coats trap your money on the rail. A boutique buyer presses for minimums, delivery windows, and return limits. Does ownership mean profit, or does it mean owning every mistake alone? You limit production so one weak style cannot drain the season. A raw white loft fills with models as boutique buyers inspect seams up close. Trunk show deposits finance pieces before full production eats the cash. The fabric supplier admits his delivery will miss the presentation window. Half the collection must be recut in substitute cloth within days. You walk into the studio and cancel every non-essential style. Nadine says the replacement fabric flatters cost more than the garment. Substitute cloth protects deadlines but risks returns if quality disappoints clients. You upgrade the visible looks and explain delays to private clients. Rush cutters get paid from your account before invoices are collected. Boutique buyers place smaller orders, but the presentation survives under your name. Creative freedom is real only when you can afford the consequences. You keep the Atelier lightbox on by tying beauty to cash discipline. Level 6. Runway Label Owner. You set foot in the International Showroom as the owner at 43, pulling $91,500. The Atelier now holds departments, specialists, PR, and samples crossing continents. Signature handbag hardware sits beside the archive like a new profit engine. Runway sells image, but handbags and e-commerce smooth cash between seasons. You negotiate wholesale minimums with a department store buyer before market appointments begin. Casting, styling, celebrity requests, factory samples, and showroom traffic now answer to your direction. Backstage, 40 looks hang in order as crews move around the collection like weather. Flashbulbs bless the finale, while factory deposits wait for cash before the show can become shipments. Wholesale orders matter only when deposits arrive before factories demand theirs. Your operations partner argues over invoices, shipping dates, and cash timing. Can fame pay the factories before Market Week exposes the gap? You fly to Paris because the showroom schedule cannot absorb another delay. A factory owner threatens to hold shipments until old bills clear. The operations partner walks out, leaving shipments and vendor calls half-controlled. You call the PR chief, sales director, and factory owner into one room. Celebrity custom looks create heat, but production discipline converts heat into money. You use handbag pre-orders to cover deposits and protect wholesale deliveries. You promote a controller, cutting off the informal trust that built the label. Market appointments continue while buyers meet a brand that did not collapse. Taste can start a house, but systems decide whether it survives. Staff stop waiting for miracles and start following named responsibilities. You build the machine around the vision. Level 7. House Builder. The season of the Marble Headquarters Atrium, 49, take home past $286,000. Design, atelier, wholesale, PR, and e-commerce now move on your calendar. Product line reviews put managers in conflict over fabric, slots, and attention. Wholesale pays early, but unsold inventory returns as pressure on you. The Rue Saint-Honoré showroom sells your world without you present. Nadine rejects a sleeve before investors, and your silence protects her. Atelier chiefs get your direction on which details deserve labor and which can scale. Rows of artisans cut, edge paint, stitch, polish, and box the signature bag for overseas buyers already waitlisting it. Handbags carry margin because one design repeats across thousands of units. The wholesale director demands faster delivery before boutiques lose floor space. If one clasp saves cents, who pays when the promise breaks? Customers post broken bags before the house can organize the recall. You walk onto the packing floor and stop every outgoing shipment. Recalls burn margin because the house owns trust, not the subcontractor. The subcontractor owner blames impossible volumes and cheaper approved substitutions. You send your own inspectors into every factory handling signature hardware. A private couture client waits while the warehouse takes your evening. Scale can cheapen the hand before your eye sees it. The archive preserves collections like museum history, not rented samples. Licensing earns without sewing, but weak partners can cheapen the name. Waiting artisans study you before the next production push. You build the quality control lab between design and factory before growth outruns touch. Level 8. Global Creative Director. You turn 57 and the limestone flagship staircase pays $735,000 now. Boutiques, salons, counters, workshops, and showrooms orbit a single name. The flagship sells clothes, bags, scent, eyewear, and image together. Retail keeps more margin because your house owns the customer relationship. You walk the atelier with chiefs who translate your standards into departments. The old runner's garment bag now moves on polished brass under your own label. Cutters, models, buyers, stylists, prototypes, and perfume counters move together across the flagship atelier showroom floor. The retail president asks for safer commercial edits in boutiques. Safe edits sell units, but too many flatten the house's desire. You order one difficult look kept in every flagship window. The fragrance license partner pushes louder packaging for airport counters. Royalties travel farther than garments, but bad packaging travels faster too. You make the license team rebuild the bottle around house codes. Buyers place orders from a complete universe, not isolated dresses. The pressure is protecting taste after the house grows beyond your hands. You send executives back to the atelier floor instead of debating abstractions. Your product is judgment other people can repeat faithfully. Another night disappears into a flagship walkthrough after closing. The archive vault holds decades beside pieces still selling downstairs. Assistants carry finished looks with the calm of people guarding legacy. The garment bag from the cramped 6th floor studio passes from hand to hand with your label sewn inside. Cutters at long tables, seamstresses finishing beadwork, models threading racks, buyers touching samples, leather teams checking prototypes, and sales staff opening the flagship doors gather around the house you built.